A stretch additive makes an ink more flexible so it resists cracking or splitting. Ink stretch can withstand an incredible amount of stress when printed on garments like spandex or athletic apparel. Let's look at when to use ink stretch and how to add it into your process. The right time to use ink stretch comes down to a judgment call. Ask yourself, how much is that print going to stretch during the garment's lifespan? Say you're printing on leggings for a local dance team or singlets for a wrestling team. These kinds of garments and jerseys stretch to fit the person wearing them, and some of them take extra abuse from the activities. So cracking ink can be an issue for these kinds of garments. Depending on the type of garment and its intended use, the method for printing can be a little different. Ink stretch can be used in 3 ways: mixed in colors, added to a white base, or printed as an underbase. Mixing stretch into your colors is the most common way to add stretch protection to a shirt. When printing directly to fabric, add 10 to 20% of the stretch additive by weight into the colors. For extreme cases, add at least 20%, possibly more depending on how much distortion will be caused. Anything above 20% can cause the opacity to drop. Be aware of this when mixing and always test before production. If the design calls for a white base, add up to 50% ink stretch to the white ink. This is the easiest way to adjust a print for stretchy fabrics, and it will greatly improve the stretch performance of the print. If you need even more protection or don't want to mix stretch into your top colors, let's say you have all PMS colors and don't want to affect the mix, duplicate your base white screen and try printing 100% stretch base before printing the top colors. Start with an 86 to a 110 mesh screen. Print a smooth deposit and flash until it's dry to the touch. Then continue with the rest of the print. For the absolute most amount of protection, print stretch underneath your base white and add 5 to 10% of ink stretch to the top colors. Lay down a good deposit for the best protection and set the screen up with a slight increased off contact to compensate. I recommend doing 2 passes with the squeegee to ensure a thick layer of stretch protection. Flooding will pre-fill the thicker stencil and make it easier to fully clear the ink from the screen. Plus, it'll produce a smoother ink deposit. A good amount of stretchy garments are made of polyester or a polyblend material. ink stretch is not a low bleed ink. To prevent dye migration, add a blocker base like Barrier Black to the design to block dyes from affecting the print. You will also want to add stretch to the Barrier Black to ensure that it stretches some. Add 5 to 10%. I would not add more because you may diminish its ability to block dyes. Now let's look at the most important part of the process, curing. Even though ink stretch is low cure, it can be added to standard 320 cure inks with no problems. The low cure properties really help with the thick ink deposits since they take longer to reach full cure. All stretch inks like to be at cure temp for longer than normal inks to give it the best stretchiness. So slowing down the belt speed will help a great deal. Next, perform a wash test to ensure proper cure. If the print cracks or washes out, then it did not reach full cure. You are probably going to be tempted to stretch test the print right after curing. All plastisols go through a settling phase where they continue to cross-link for 24 hours. Wait a day before stretch testing your print. ink stretch has an incredible amount of flexibility, but just because you can stretch it as far as you can, doesn't mean the shirt will ever be under that kind of stress once worn. Always be thinking about the kind of conditions the garment will be in and add stretch accordingly. Start with adding stretch to your colors. For more protection, add it to the underbase, or print stretch as the underbase. Then for extreme cases, add it to all the parts of your design. By adding ink stretch into your arsenal, you're able to expand your services. You'll be able to print on stretchy, athletic garments without worrying about ink cracking. Use ink stretch as an underbase or mix it into inks to stretch the boundaries of your plastisol printing game. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and check out all of Ink's new products at screenprinting.com. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.